All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a quick review, just a quick one for The Walking Dead Season 9 on Blu-ray. Alright dudes, so I finally had a chance to go ahead and go through The Walking Dead Season 9 on Blu-ray. I know it's been a bit since it's been released, and usually I do kind of a review in the summertime for the DVD or Blu-ray releases. I've done one for every season, so obviously we're going to continue with the ninth season now, and next year we'll probably do, we'll do Season 10 right through to the end, I think. So why didn't I do this one right away, sort of in August? Why is it now January and I'm actually doing a quick review of this one now? It's simply because the cover and that continued when I actually went through it. This was difficult to go through. I think it's an amazing release, and I think that if you're a huge fan of The Walking Dead and you've collected the Blu-rays or DVDs, stopping here with Rick's last season is probably blasphemous for you, I guess. It's kind of a must-have if you're a collector for Walking Dead stuff. So, but to go through it is tough. It's very, very tough because it's the season of the most change The Walking Dead has ever seen. When you start things off, remember back to where Season 9 starts, it's even hard to think back to it because where we're at right now, halfway through The Walking Dead Season 10, with the Whispers and everything that's been happening with that, it's almost like we're used to that further time skip. We're used to where they're at now in terms of time, and where this season starts off is it starts off back after the war, a couple years after the war. And so you have the stuff with the Saviors happening, you have the bridge, you have Rick, you have them going to Washington DC, which is really cool. And then after the fifth episode, you have the huge time skip with Judith aging and all these different things happening so quickly, and everyone looking older. Carol with the long hair, Michonne's looking different, everyone's looking different, Daryl even looking a bit older. And then you bring in the Whispers, and then the season continues on further. And then they end things off with the Red Fair, as I call it, or the Whispers, with the Pikes, and then the snow episode at the very end. So it is the season of the most change The Walking Dead has ever seen, starting off with kind of our old crew for the first 5 episodes, and then quickly shifting into a new direction, minus Rick, minus Maggie, and with Judith now of age and or old enough to where she can actually go out in the zombie apocalypse and she can do things and be a part of the story, whereas before she was so young she just had to kind of stay at Alexandria and she couldn't really do much. So you guys have probably all seen the season. You've probably all seen The Walking Dead Season 9, and it is an incredible season. It's definitely one of the best The Walking Dead has ever had. I mean, if you look at the amount of things, the amount of change throughout it, one of the special features is called Seasons of Change, and it is a season of change as well too. Here you got the back cover with we got Judith and Alpha, and it's just, oh man, really what a crazy season. But so it's sad, man. It's really sad, and that's why I didn't buy it at first. Like I say, I didn't buy it in August like I usually do because it's so sad because now Rick is no longer in the show. And once I mustered up the courage to actually go through it and watch it here today, I am happy for it. I'm happy that I got it, and I'm happy that I got a chance to actually see it. I'll share with you guys kind of my thoughts on this because I know, very few people buy, actual sets nowadays. They just watch streaming and that kind of thing, and that's cool when it's available and that. But this release, some releases of Walking Dead seasons, some are worth it, some aren't. In terms of, every season is great of The Walking Dead for the most part, and everybody's happy with almost all the seasons except for 7 and 8, I suppose. But aside from that, every season you're getting a great TV series and a season of it, so it's not a bad release in terms of that. But a lot of times it's the question: is it worth buying? Are the extra special features actually worth it? And in this case, I would say absolutely yes, but not for the deleted scenes. The deleted scenes on this one are just okay. They're on the last disc here, which has pretty much all of the special features on it. For this one, it's the alpha disc right here, and it has tons of extra stuff. But the deleted scenes are not some of the strongest stuff. Basically, they're all pretty much just in between scenes of like characters talking about things that were happening at that time in the series. And there's very few, I would say, that are really all that worthwhile. There's maybe a couple of like younger Judith with Rick and Michonne when they go to the doctors and things like that. They go to Sadiq as going to the doctors, and like one part where he asks about Judith's like if Rick has any medical issues or anything, because it would be for Judith, and Rick kind of looks at Michonne because they know, or she knows, that Judith isn't his, but he doesn't say it. He just kind of switches the subject about Aaron or something like this. The rest of them, there's one between Rick and Carol, which is okay. They're kind of like walking through the woods, just talking about different stuff and everything. And but for the most part, the deleted scenes on this they're not really that great. There have been some cool Walking Dead deleted scenes, like the zombie Bluray one, for example, from season 3. That was a really cool one, but this year's doesn't have much in the way of deleted scenes. That's not why you're buying it. If you do choose to buy it, I would say if you do choose to buy it, the reason for it would be there's a couple really good ones here. There's the farewell for Rick's farewell. You want to talk like the saddest special feature ever. I mean, I could barely watch this. I could barely go through it because it was just like, it was so sad. You basically have everybody saying farewell to Andrew Lincoln on it, and they're all talking about, like, he's such an amazing leader. He's such an amazing lead for the show, and him taking time to kind of meet everybody, even whoever they were who was a part of the show. He would when they first started, he would go up to them and introduce himself and that whole thing, and it's just it's freaking so sad, man. So there's that one, and then there's the inside episodes to add on top of that, where you can watch. Like, I went to number 5 right away because I wanted to see, kind of with Rick's last episode, what the inside episodes, and they have one for every episode, and really awesome. They go into a little bit of Hershel. There's lots of little clips here of the inside episodes, actually with Andrew Lincoln, as he's kind of just going through some different things about the episodes and what they were doing, and Angela Kang and Greg Nicotero, and just a lot of the people who were involved with making the different episodes and that. And it's so sad when I watch it through. It almost amazes me the show's even still on, because when you hear the people that are like the cast and crew and people talking about Andrew Lincoln, talking about how amazing he was as a leader for the show and everything, it almost makes you feel like it's a wonder The Walking Dead survived Rick's leave. It's like, it's a wonder the show is even still in existence because after he left, because it almost feels like when you hear them all talk about him that he was so instrumental. Well, he was and he is for what The Walking Dead is. It's almost a surprise that the show was able to even survive him not being in it anymore. That's really, it's really crazy to just to kind of like think about that, because you get the sense as you're going through these extra things of how highly everyone there, or everyone who's involved with the show, held him in such high regard that it's almost crazy the show was even able to continue after episode 5, after he actually left. And they do go into Seasons of Change a bit, and the time jumps. There's one special feature called Time Jump, which I think is one of the smartest things maybe they've ever done, especially when looking back on this, because they didn't dwell on the fact that Rick's gone so much, right? They just went into it, and then they skipped it with the Judith, and they brought Judith up to age, and all these different things that were kind of bringing in some intrigue and that, so that people would want to see and they'd want to keep watching. So they did it about as good as you possibly could have ever done it, but it's just really sad to see it, because it's like, oh man, but what are you going to do? I think Scott Gimple said it was happening either way, whether they wanted it to happen or not. It was happening. He couldn't keep up the schedule. He couldn't keep doing it. It was affecting his personal life. It sounds like too much, and so that's what they had to do. But it's almost, when you watch it through and you hear everything, it's almost a wonder that the show is even still on now and is even in its 10th season after he left, because that's how impactful it looks. It just looks like everybody is like so just, I don't know, maybe like distraught or traumatized is the right word to even. It's the alpha male's leaving, right? That's what's happening. So it's a fun one. But anyway, the Rick farewell stuff is amazing. The inside episodes are incredible. There's one with Andrew Lincoln talking about the scene with Hershel, and Scott Wilson is Hershel before he passed away. Rest in peace to Scott, who played Hershel. If you didn't know, yes, he's gone. And so he kind of goes over how they were able to do that scene in 905, which is the scene where like they're in the barn and they just look out. It's fucking sad, man. It's really, really some sad shit for fans of Walking Dead. But it's sort of like, it's kind of like it's kind of, at least I felt like I had to. It's just I had to work it up to where I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that. But it's like, but you kind of, it's like you have to. So you got to kind of like work up to yourself to where, you're ready to emotionally take it in, right? Because that's, at least for me anyway, you guys know I get really into the series, making so many videos on it and stuff like that. But for so many years, I get really into it. But I think for all you guys as well too, that it's probably going to be much the same as it was for me. It's difficult to watch, but you got to do it. So that's the farewell to Rick stuff. The time jump, which is a special feature. The seasons have changed, where they go into the snow episode at the end and kind of how they did it with is like a big sound stage or whatever, indoor type of thing. And it's pretty cool to see because they kind of go into how they always want to do a snow episode and they could never do it because of the timing of the year when they film, but they were able to do it this year with season 9's finale, and they were all just kind of talking about how great it was to actually do that. And I loved it too, to get to see the winter like that was so cool because we'd never been able to see that before. And who knows, maybe they'll do another episode like that in the future. We'll see. It sounds like they were very happy with it as well, too. So the inside episodes are good. If there's any episodes that you like from the season, I think the inside episodes for this one is really good. Just to kind of get a little bit more information from them about the episodes. There's the making of, which I'm personally not too into the making ofs. Sometimes I like to keep that mystique there. I don't really like to know too much about it because then I kind of feel like it kind of breaks the fourth wall too much for me personally anyway. But I understand some people are into that, so there's that on here. And then there's Whispers Behind the Mask, which they just basically talk up how awesome the Whispers are, which we've gotten to see even more of that now from when they filmed this and from when they just brought the Whispers in. So it's okay because they're giving their thoughts on them as the Whispers were just kind of coming in, and now we're so much further ahead than that it's kind of like, well, we know just about, we're pretty much used to everything Whispers, but it does bring back some cool things they did to start with, like when they didn't know what the Whispers were, they heard them talking, and they weren't sure if they were zombies evolving or what was going on, and that whole thing. So this are pretty cool. We got the alpha one here, which has got all the special stuff on it. And then the rest just have the episodes. Maggie and Negan, which so I like that one. That one's cool. Michonne and Judith, which is cool. Daryl and Carol. It's fitting that they put them together. These episodes here. And then the Rick at the start for the first 5 episodes. This one doesn't include episode 5, though. This is, I think, the first 4. And then What Comes After, which is the biggest episode, I'd say, of the season. I can't believe it's not in the top 10 best episodes of Walking Dead ever, because What Comes After, especially when you watch the farewell to Rick and the inside episodes after this one, it's like, man, I mean, that's like, you almost get a sense that it's probably one of the, it just feels like it's such an important episode for everybody who's ever been involved with The Walking Dead. And I think they nailed it. I think they did it as good as you possibly could do, right? So for Rick's exit. And then this TWD thing here, which just has like some, advertisements for video games and stuff like that, and inside and Talking Dead in the back. So it's nothing crazy or anything like that. It's just that's what it is. So it's an amazing season, man. The special features on this one, I would say, are worth it for fans of Rick. And like I said, it's almost amazing that when you watch it, because you realize how much they sort of, I don't want to say they relied on him, but how important he was to the property. And when you don't have him there, it's almost amazing that the property's even been able to continue at all. So I think that's one thing that we should probably, at least for people who whine a lot in comments about Walking Dead episodes or seasons or whatever, going forward, it's like, we should probably just be happy the damn thing is even still on, because losing this guy, especially when you watch the behind the scenes part of losing this guy, I mean, that's something that where it's like, whew, it's like, it almost seems like it was harder for them than it was for us as fans. Like, for us as fans, that was difficult to go through. But it sounds like for them, At least that's the sense that I got from watching the behind the scenes stuff about his leave and everything. And they all get. It almost feels like to me it's probably much harder for them to go on and continue without him there. It's sort of like if you had, if you work at a job and you have like this really awesome guy you can always go to, and he's amazing and everything, maybe he helps you get started or whatever, maybe he trains you when you first start, and then one day they leave and you're like, oh shit, it's like, and you're still there. It's sort of like something like that. So I don't know, man, but I loved it, man. I'm really glad I got this one. For a score for the season, man, or for the Blu-ray release, I would say 10 out of 10, perfect score. If you're a huge fan of Walking Dead, I mean, this is, I would say it's basically, a must-have for how things worked out. And I'm just happy that they were able to kind of handle it so well, because I think the easy answer would have been, well, if Rick's leaving, let's just end the show. Let's just do that, right? Like, it almost feels like when you watch it through, like that's what, it just feels like that would be the default position. The default position would be if you're doing a Batman series and you lose Batman, well, you just end the show, right? If you're doing Walking Dead and you lose Rick, you just end The Walking Dead. But they were able to make it work anyway, which is unbelievable. And even more unbelievable when you watch this through and see how it affected everybody who was involved. Anyway, that's my review for The Walking Dead Season 9 on Blu-ray, or maybe it applies to DVD too. I'm not sure if the DVD includes all the same special features, but that's it. It's an amazing must-have, but I would say it's the saddest release for a Blu-ray or DVD I've ever purchased, be it movies, TV series, anything. As a huge fan of Walking Dead, it's the saddest I've ever bought. So I don't regret buying it, but emotionally it's like, oh man, at least as a huge Walking Dead fan, that's what it did to me. So that's it for my review for this year. Probably next year for season 10, probably do another one, maybe in August this time, and I won't do it 6 months later now, or how many months later it is now, January. So I guess, well, okay, no, it's not quite 6 months, but you guys get what I'm saying. Anyway, that's it for the review, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below, and if you like it, thumb it up below, share favorite, subscribe to the bottom left, and I'll see you guys soon. As always, it's Trev saying peace. Later, guys.